Hello kaiju fans, welcome back to the Kaiju World Order. My name is MM, and this is Monster of the Week, where I'm just going to be talking about and rambling on about a monster that was voted on by members of the Kaiju Hug Box, in which you can join that Discord server with the link in this channel's description, and go ahead and join because you can vote for the next kaiju, you can watch streams that we do, and yada yada yada. Plus we have some of the best goddamn kaiju emojis you will ever see. So, with that said, and that shameless plug done, Monster of the Week here is a arachnid kaiju, originally coming from Toho. This monster actually crossed paths with Godzilla, and I am not talking about Kumanga. This week's monster is Spider Uros from Zone Fighter. Now, if you're not too familiar with Zone Fighter, it is a 1970s show that kind of combines aspects of Ultraman with other tokusatsu tropes of the time. Sentai, Kamen Rider, there's a little bit of everything here. So if you're going to go into the series and thinking, oh, it's just going to be Ultraman but with Godzilla cameos, you're going to be disappointed, because there's a lot of weird bullshit that goes on in this series, and it's actually some of the stuff that I don't really like, and it's one of the reasons why I don't really get into Kamen Rider or Sentai much. But it's actually not that bad of a series. Some of the kaiju stuff is pretty cool, and Spider Uros here, for example, is actually a neat monster, all things considered. It is not a monster that could hold a movie on his own. It's definitely not a Gigan or a Ghidorah or even a Kumanga, because it's just goofy looking. But for a Monster of the Week TV thing, pretty memorable monster. Most humanoid insect monsters tend to be like Megalon or Antlar, and they're beetle-like, but Spider Uros is one of the very few actual arachnid humanoid monsters with, well, he has extra limbs on his back, but really because of suit limitations, all they do is flop around. So what exactly is Spider Uros? He is a Taro beast from the Garoga Empire from Zone Fighter. This alien race utilizes a whole slew of monsters and just sends them at the Earth one at a time, to the point where Zone Fighter and sometimes Godzilla have to deal with them. So Spider Uros was deployed after the Garoga had this great plan of using some other little spider to mutate a zoo's gorilla into a giant monster. And then when that spider was killed, the invaders let loose Spider Uros. Now, there isn't an actual connection between the spider and Spider Uros, but they kind of go hand in hand. And then Spider Uros fights Zone Fighter. Spider Uros has one thing really going for it, and that's its webs. Just like Kumanga's, these webs will cocoon its targets very quickly. Once it starts spraying Zone Fighter is down pretty quickly until his little family arrives as backup and saves his ass, and then Zone Fighter is back in the game and eventually just makes quick work of Spider Uros like he has all the other Taro beasts. Now, this wasn't the end of Spider Uros. It would come back several episodes later and be used as another pawn along with an army of Taro beasts. So it joined the likes of Jakiru and Garoborg, and I believe the other one was named Magronda. I might be mispronouncing that one though. But these monsters were under the command of another one, which this one's name just completely escapes me. And after that monster was defeated by Zone Fighter, these other ones were deployed. However, Godzilla arrived and saved the day. This allowed Zone Fighter to make quick work of Garoborg, and just look at that kill right there. That is a straight up fatality. And then Godzilla takes care of Spider Uros. He does his neat little arm twirl, Dusty Rhodes type pose, blasts Spider Uros, and then He blows up. Spider-Uros is dead. And that's it. Spider-Uros has never come back. He's probably not ever going to come back. I say that now, and then watch, he probably will. But anyway, Spider-Uros, no merchandise. Like, there's no Bandai, there's no X Plus, at least not that I know of. I know there is like some very niche vinyl of some of the Zone Fighter kaiju, and Spider-Uros has one. I have never seen this figure though in the wild. Like, I've never seen it in any pictures of collections or anything, so take that as you will. So unfortunately, if you want to have Spider-Uros in your collection, you're probably shit out of luck, unless like someone like YMSF or custom figure maker ends up doing one. But now for my actual favorite part of these videos, and that is, how would Spider-Uros actually fare against other monsters? Now, before we get into this, there are actual 2 other attacks that Spider-Uros does technically have. One is this little triple laser beam that he uses on Zone Fighter in his human form to prevent him from transforming. We don't even know where he fires this beam from. It's just a tiny little thing, and really it does no damage to anything. It just acted as a quick way to prevent the human from turning into the hero. So that's pretty much a null point. That's not going to factor into any fights. Additionally, it is said that he has poison that he can inject into victims with the horns on its head. Again, we've never seen these in use. He never infects Godzilla. He never infects Zone Fighter. So how this would actually work against anything, we don't know. So really also moot point. And with that, besides the web spray, he also is able to have flight to a limited extent. He can't really fly vast distances like, say, Rodan does, but he is able to pretty much just fly very short distances to attack. Sort of like Gigant's flybys, but even more awkward. And how he does this without any wings, who knows? It's just 1970s Toku logic. And then the extra limbs he just uses to actually batter his opponents. All of his limbs end in claws, but none of them actually seem to do anything. Instead, he just swings his limbs around. And when he actually does fight, and especially Godzilla, it really highlights that these monsters are not up to par with what Godzilla normally deals with. Evidenced by the fact that when Godzilla is fighting Spider-Uros, he seems to be more or less just playing with him. And then finally, when he does fight back, all it takes is one quick shot of his atomic ray, and Spider-Uros is dead. That means Spider-Uros is not going to be a big challenge for anything. Zone Fighter made very quick work of him in the first episode they appeared together in, which means like any Ultra is going to just slaughter this thing. Godzilla, same. Maybe like some more hand-to-hand, more animal-like monsters, like say Anguirus, might be a bit more of a possible victory for Spider-Uros, but really it's just a really goofy monster that has lots of targets flopping around, and most monsters would just tear it apart. Still a cool monster. I like Spider-Uros' design, especially the colors. I like how, even if it looks goofy, I really like how they got the limbs to stick out of the sides and the back. And the head is also just pretty cool looking. It's unique looking for a spider monster. And really, that's it, folks. Until next time, peace out, and Minya, take it away.
Says you should like and subscribe.